So today I'm going to be trying out Crossfire Legion again, and it's basically a classic RTS, very akin to StarCraft. Now this video has been sponsored by Prime Matter, the publishers of the game, and it's finally out of early access. So let's see how it plays. So you got 3 factions with a total of 9 different commanders. These guys basically have their own abilities, and you also have 75 different units, which you can swap between. As for the campaign, you have 3 different acts, one for each faction, and a final act, which apparently is pretty intense. I won't be showing that today though, so let's go ahead and try out a custom game against some AI. Alright, so we're going to be trying a 1v3 challenge against the AI. This is a challenge I've been working at for a while now. We've failed multiple times, but I think I finally come up with a strategy where we can do decently. The plan is we're basically just gonna tier 1 rush the enemy and see how it goes. But for those of you not super acclimated with the game, I'm just gonna quickly go over generally what this game is about. So it's a classic real-time strategy game. You know, you got your usual buildings, you got the you got the barracks for infantry, you have the sort of mechanized facility for all of your sort of vehicles, and you also have the airfield for flying units. So there's the 3 different tiers. It's very similar between the 3 factions, though of course the units can be very different, as you can customize what units your buildings can actually make. One of the interesting things about this game, where you have a lot of sort of build customization. We'll be sort of going with the vanilla though, just so that you guys get a feel, can get a better feel of what to expect if you do decide to jump into the game with nothing. Let's go ahead and get a supply depot so that we can get more troops going. Nice. And then as soon as possible, we're gonna start spamming out these guys. But yeah, basically that's how it works. We have 2 resources here. One for producing anything, and another for producing... There we go. And another one for producing sort of tech units. We're not really going to be getting a lot of tech today because our enemies are very close. So one of the AI forces is in the right middle, another one in the bottom right corner, and then another in the bottom left corner. So we definitely want to take them out as fast as possible. And starting off, we're going to be dive bombing this guy over here. You can see he's only just getting his first production building started. So he doesn't really have much in the way of stopping this aggression, and really he's mostly just going to be relying on his ally friends to come and help him in a moment here. So time is definitely of the essence, but I should be able to at least put up enough pressure here where we take out the AI, where we take him out here now. And then it's just a 2v1. Just a simple 2v1. Not the most difficult thing in the world. I do expect to still have a very large army for the second guy, but it's always the third guy where it's the most sketchy, because the third AI is very far away from me. He's able to sort of just tech up and build up his forces. So I definitely want to put pressure on early to make sure that we can actually shut him down. We want to make sure that we can shut him down before he actually builds up, because once they get to higher tier units, obviously my sort of very vanilla army here won't do very well. Alright, but here we go. We're going to be seeing the first units of the second faction. This is sort of the pseudo-Protoss faction, where they have a bunch of shielded units. So they're pretty fun. I'm just going to leave one guy here to finish off this building. Yeah, they have a bunch of shielded units who are fairly good at melee, but and you know, they just have technology in general, but overall their tier 1 units are pretty weak. I have quite a few range units here now, and because they can only attack one guy at a time, it's not too hard just kiting him out. There we go. Moving on into his base now, and now we can just waltz right on in fairly early too. Is definitely very great. We'll see what he actually has. So far it seems like not too much. And oh my gosh, look at that. He's actually pulling the workers to deal with me. Unfortunately for him though, workers are not the best fighters in the game. They do decent though, but with the power of kiting, should be fine. And there we go. There goes the rest of his melee. We can waltz right on in here now. Take out one of his supply depots, why not? And alright, there we go. Another faction down. He's gonna get one more unit in a second, but that's not the biggest issue. Alright, sick. So with that out of the way, I can now focus on doing this. Getting an upgrade building to make my ranged infantry just a little bit more powerful. You definitely want them. You definitely want them nice and built up here. The upgrades in this game are actually very, very important. Even more so than StarCraft, because it increases the HP of your units. So straight up, oh dang, we're supply blocked. That ain't good. Straight up, if you get your upgrades, your guys are gonna perform like 40% better. It's insane. So like even if you have 4 units of the same type, you probably want to get that upgrade going. All right, but there we go. That's some nice reinforcements taken out from the last faction in the bottom left. So let's go ahead and pay him a visit now. We're just gonna move all my forces down over there. Seems like I am nice clearing up his guys that are showing up. And, you know, I'm gonna leave a contingency force down in the bottom right, just to make sure that the AI doesn't build up too much. And also interesting, it looks like they're actually sending some guys to defend these last few buildings. It's actually sort of a plus for me, because now I can mass up over here. The last AI faction will have fewer things to... There's the upgrade, by the way. Last AI faction will have fewer guys to send my way. And then it should be a victory. Obviously, like I said, a little bit cheesy. Most definitely, if I played more passively, I'd get run over. Trust me, I've tried before. We would most definitely get run over. But yeah, and even honestly, if I attack this guy even a little bit slower, there's also a chance of getting absolutely annihilated. Because at this point, he's going to be starting to spam out tier 2 and tier 3 units. So we definitely want to make sure that he doesn't get to that point, because there are some scary vehicles in this game. Lots of crazy AoEs. There we go, nice. Looks like he's pulled off his workers. Workers are down. We can now progress forwards. And I think this challenge shall be complete. I'm not seeing too many high tier units, which is a very good sign. Come on, get in there. Let's check his buildings. Anything crazy? Looks like it's a no. Sweet. We're gonna now use our special commander ability to do some damage over time on his workers. These are insanely strong on worker lines, by the way. There's another ability that's just a straight up bombardment that can just kill everything. It is dodgeable, but definitely quite scary. But there we go. Looks like he actually didn't build up very much. I guess my timing attack was actually a little bit faster than I did in previous runs. Well, nice. Success! Success! There we go. But there you go. There's Crossfire Legion. It's a pretty interesting game. It's very, it gives very strong StarCraft vibes, which is not exactly a bad thing. I wouldn't expect too much innovation outside of these sort of special commander abilities, but and of course the fact that you can customize your units. You can like, you know, you can, instead of like at my barracks, right, I could just have 2 different types of infantry instead of the vanilla guys. You can sort of set that up in the menus before you play. So that part's pretty interesting. As for the game itself, you know, it handles well enough to play. So if you feel like it's worth your money, feel free to go get it. The game is finally out and launched. It's out of early access. So if it's at all interesting, it's definitely out there and ready to go. I would you know, if there's one thing that I would definitely recommend, it's probably just trying out the campaign if you're looking for a quick RTS campaign, since of course RTS games are fairly rare nowadays. You could probably have a pretty good time with it. I played like the first few missions on the harder difficulty, or harder difficulties, and it was actually not too bad. Like, you know, it's like a solid way to just sort of spend the weekend. It does seem like there are a few problems still though, if you are sort of looking at how the game has developed between early access and now. There are a couple problems, like, you know, the fact that I can't target fire their command center. So as a multiplayer game, you can sort of decide what you're looking for if you decide to get the game for that. But definitely the campaign is a nice, just solid weekend or so of gameplay. But pretty good. I think we've more or less cleared out the AI now. I can now move on north. We can go ahead and clear out their last base, which should be over there. The AI pretty often likes to build bases and expand closest to itself, so I'm pretty sure that's the last place. And then that should be the victory, because we've taken out the command centers of the first two opponents. And here we go. Let's go ahead and close this bad boy out. Oh, look at that. I'm just throwing down the AoEs. Yeah, this is the crazy AoE. This one right here, this bombardment, is insane how much damage it can do. Definitely don't want to sit around in that. I gotta say, the commander abilities are pretty crazy, but as far as I can tell, it seems like they don't regenerate. And you can only use them, like, once. Or you can only use, like, you know, them a couple of times before you're out of resources. I don't know about the other commanders, so you'll just have to find that out yourself. But there we go. There's Crossfire Legion. And a pretty fun challenge completed there, too.